So, yeah, if you want to start, what are your thoughts on the three of them? How do you think he'd do against each of them and why?
Well, is he fighting like all three of them at the same time,
Oh,
or
no, one
just
after the other.
okay? So Raditz, Raditz might have a speed advantage on Boros. We know that Boros has Planet Plus DC because those guides confirmed it or whatever. So Raditz is at best small planetary. Like he would probably blow up Earth if you like highball him. But he'd probably be faster. We know that characters like Lightspeed Flash are in One Punch Man. I don't know if you agree that titles like Lightspeed Flash would make him Lightspeed, but we know that Boros is around relativistic as a low ball, and he's probably in multiple times faster than light. So even if Raditz was say faster than Boros, honestly, I just don't see him having the DC or durability to do anything about it. Especially if Boros gets pissed, he'd probably just obliterate the planet they're on, and Raditz would just go poof.
And
So
if I remember correctly, doesn't he also have like regeneration too?
yeah, so even if Raditz did like somehow hurt him or catch him off guard, he'd probably just regenerate and it wouldn't even really do anything.
Although it's worth mentioning at full power, it does put a lot of strain on Boros.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, um, Raditz might be able to, play peekaboo with him and tire him out, but I don't think Raditz really is that kind of fighter. I think he's more arrogant. I think he's more like arrogant, and then we realize that someone's stronger than him. He starts freaking out.
Yeah,
Like
I'd
I
agree.
don't. Yeah. So I don't think he would come up with a plan like that. Um, Nappa. I don't know what your opinion on Nappa is. I have Boros at large planetary because I'm gonna be honest. I think Boros' Planet Buster Rorcan is because he can bust other planets, and an average planet is way larger than Earth. So I'm pretty sure Boros can bust average planets and probably large planets. What's your opinion on Nappa's DC? Because
I'd
that'd
say
probably be pretty
Nappa
important.
is probably large planet as well. The reason being is King Vegeta, he was easily able to bust three planets at the same time with like 11,000, and also like regular Saiyans can bust regular planets, and Nappa's an elite, so I'd say he's probably large planet.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, if we keep that highball in mind and we just assume that Boros can destroy like any planetoid or planet, I could see Boros maybe like blowing away Nappa with the roar cannon. Um, if Nappa doesn't just obliterate Boros in his weakened state first, because Boros without that cannon isn't actually anywhere near planetary for some reason. Like he goes from like multi-continental, I think, to like planet plus just by using that ability. So
Yeah,
I mean,
Nappa is pretty fast too compared to Boros because he's like gonna blitz even Raditz, so Nappa might just blitz him even before he can use it.
I think it depends. It honestly it depends again whether or not how cocky Nappa is. If Nappa just is going for the kill, maybe like Vegeta's there or something. I don't know. Maybe he could coach Nappa on killing him. Because if he fucks around, he's just the planet's gonna go boom and Nappa's gonna die. Like
Yeah,
so,
I could
even
see, even though when I think about it, Nappa should have probably a similar durability and destructive power to Boros, though, since he should be well above Raditz. So he might even be able to survive that or counter it.
yeah, like he might be able to. Well, that's if he counters in time. I don't know. It
Yeah,
depends on how arrogant he is.
if he gets caught by it like unaware, then I could see it killing him. But otherwise, I think he'd probably be able to take it.
Like what is it? Like Krillin almost killed him with the Destructo disc, right?
Yeah, like
So I
if
mean,
that happens, I could see Nappa getting killed. Like if he's just not really taking it seriously and he takes the full force of it. But if he tries to like counter it or guard against it, I think he could survive it.
like what is it? Say he's like fodderizing Boros because he probably would beat the fuck out of Boros like in a fist fight. So I mean, if he's getting really arrogant and stuff, and then Boros all of a sudden Boros just like his power level jumps by like two times out of nowhere, Nappa is probably gonna get fucked. But um, that depends because we know that Tien did something similar. Like Tien got bodied, and then his Neo Tri Beam, like Nappa protected himself against it, even though Tien was fodder.
Yeah,
So it's really hard to say, but I mean, it would be a good fight.
I think Nappa's a pretty close fight. I think that fight could go either way. Nappa definitely would have an advantage at first, but once Boros is at full power, he might be able to beat him.
depending on how Nappa reacts.
Yeah.
So I guess from there we just have Vegeta, and Vegeta would obviously just kind of shit on him. Like with a
Yeah.
wave of his hand, he could probably just solo him.
Yeah, he'd just overpower him and outspeed him and just yeah.
So I guess that's the gauntlet.
Yeah, I guess so we'd say Boros probably beats Raditz, barring some kind of fluke where Raditz starts to be smart.
Yeah.
And he against Nappa, it could go either way. And then against Vegeta, he gets shit on.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's that fight. What do
Yeah.
you think about Saitama versus that gauntlet?
I would say Saitama would beat Raditz because, well, Saitama should be significantly stronger since he's even stronger than Boros. Raditz might, well, he's technically has better speed feats, but personally I think Saitama's probably faster. He just hasn't shown it yet.
Yep.
And for Nappa, I would say, honestly, Saitama doesn't have the feats quite yet, but he'd probably beat him too, since he wasn't really trying against Boros.
Yeah, even when
Vegeta's, yeah,
he wasn't trying, he one-shotted that planet busting attack. So
so I could
I'd,
see him beating Nappa. It's a possibility. I wouldn't say that it's definite because we haven't seen feats yet, but it's certainly possible.
yeah.
And
then
for
with
Vegeta, though, Vegeta currently just has a lot better feats. So I'd say feat-wise, Vegeta wins, but it's not impossible for Saitama to surpass him once he shows better feats.
Yeah, a lot of people think that I have Saitama at like Frieza level. Like the reason I have him so high, like in my power levels and stuff, is because I'm trying to be generous to like the Saitama tards, that think he's like infinite, and I'm
Yeah,
trying to ease them in like slowly. Like, hey, no, he'd probably be more like this if you really wanted to wank him. Like, hey, maybe he used 1% against Boros and he's like 100 times planetary or something.
yeah. Honestly, I could see people arguing Saitama beats Raditz or even Nappa. And with Vegeta, I mean, by the time you get there, it's kind of like, well, he doesn't really have the feats. But then when you get into Frieza, you're like, well, he's significantly below him in feats. There's no way you can prove it.
Yeah, exactly. So honestly, even Saitama probably won't even clear the gauntlet. Vegeta would probably just beat the hell out of Boros and Saitama.
Yeah, and
So
if Vegeta uses Great Ape form, if he needs it on Saitama, that would take him out too.
yeah, that'd just be that'd be overkill.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
Boros is gonna either get stopped at Nappa or at best he'll get stopped by Vegeta, and Saitama will probably beat Raditz. Nappa is, a tough call. He might beat him, but he'll definitely get stopped at Vegeta too, especially if he needs Great Ape.
yeah, yeah. So even if he does get like an upper hand on Vegeta, the Great Ape is just an instant win. So
Yeah,
there's no way he can win. So I guess that's the gauntlet, right?
yeah, that's pretty much it.